Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson where I'm going to help you learn how to describe animals in English. This is a topic that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I did a lesson on animals a long time ago, and when I did that English lesson, I realized that certain animals are almost always described a certain way. And so I thought it would be fun today to do an English lesson about how to describe animals. I think that I have almost every animal. No, I don't have every animal in the world, but I have almost 42 animals and a description of each animal, a descriptive word for each of them. So the first word that we're going to learn is the word dirty. So when an animal is dirty, when a person is dirty, when something is dirty, it's the opposite of clean. The animal that might be most known for being dirty would be a pig. So you can see with this lesson today, I put the name of each animal underneath. I think most of you know all of your animal names or most of your animal names in English, but I thought it might be a good idea to include that as well. So the pig might be considered a dirty animal. We do not have pigs on our farm, but pigs are sometimes known to root around in the mud or wallow in the mud. That means they roll around and lay in the mud. I think they do that to stay cool, and I think they root around with their nose to find roots and other things to eat. So the pig might be considered a dirty animal. Personally, I actually think they're rather cute, but they can also be considered dirty. Probably the word most associated with a lion is the word ferocious. When an animal is ferocious, it means it attacks quickly, it's violent, it hunts other animals in order to kill them and eat them. I know that's a little crazy, but a lion is probably known as the most ferocious animal in the world. When I saw a lion at the zoo one time, I was actually a little bit scared. I should have put that in the lesson about our fears, but the lion is definitely considered ferocious. And then we have slow and fast. So the slowest animal, or the animal that you think about most often when you see the word slow, would be a turtle or a tortoise. So turtles and tortoises are different. I don't know the exact difference between them, except that it sounds like turtles spend an amount of time in the water and on land, whereas a tortoise primarily lives on land. But if you think about the slowest animal in the world, one animal that might come to mind is the turtle. Fast. So the animal that might come to mind when you think about fast is the cheetah. I think one of the fastest land animals. But we also might think about the rabbit or hare. Okay. So the rabbit is, sorry, I'm just losing track of my train of thought here. I want to make sure, give me 1 second here to check something. There we go. We're good. We often think about the rabbit. There is a story, the tortoise and the hare. So again, rabbit and hare are fairly similar. A hare might be a slightly bigger rabbit, if I understand correctly. But a turtle is considered slow. A rabbit is considered fast. In fact, on my tractor, there's a lever. And at one end, there's a turtle. And at the other end, there's a rabbit. Those are the symbols on the tractor. And if you put it on the turtle, the engine goes slowly. If you put it on the rabbit, the engine goes very, very quickly. Slimy. So there are a few different animals that you would think are slimy. When something's slimy, it's slippery and it has like a slime on the bottom of it. The snail is a very slimy animal. When a snail goes across a surface, it leads a little trail of slime. It's a little bit gross would be another word we might use in English. We also have things like slugs. Slugs look a little bit like a snail, but they don't have a shell. Sometimes slugs eat our baby plants when we plant them in the field. But definitely a snail is a slimy animal. Massive. So there are several words to describe an animal that is large. You could say enormous, gigantic, massive. The elephant is usually the animal that comes to mind when I think about the word massive, and when I'm thinking about animals. As well, maybe the blue whale is another animal that comes to mind. Certainly, those are gigantic, massive, enormous animals. I was actually afraid of elephants when I was in South Africa. When I saw an elephant in real life, it was bigger than I actually expected it to be. It was a little bit frightening. Poisonous. So there's a slight difference between poisonous animals and venomous animals. A poisonous animal, sometimes if you touch a poisonous animal or if you eat a poisonous animal, it is harmful. It is bad for you. You don't want to eat something that is poisonous. Poisonous plants and poisonous animals are not good for you. They can either harm you or even kill you. When we talk about snakes, though, we're talking about animals that are venomous. Venomous animals try to bite you. And when they bite you, they inject venom into your body. So a snake is a venomous animal. The pufferfish would be known as a poisonous animal. Both very, very bad for you. You don't want to be bitten by a snake, and you don't want to accidentally eat something or touch something that is poisonous. When we talk about an animal that is beautiful, the most common animal would be the horse. Human beings have used horses for a very long time to help them do farm work, to help them around their properties, to help them build roads a long time ago, to pull carriages or carts. But the horse also has a beauty to it. When you see a horse running and you see all the horse's muscles underneath their fur or their hair, you realize that it is a very beautiful animal. This is why people love having horses. Not only are they fun to ride, but they're also fun just to watch as they run around the field and graze in a pasture. Graze is when you eat grass, by the way. Dangerous. When an animal is dangerous, it means that you have to be careful when you are around it. There are a lot of dangerous animals in the world. One animal that might appear to be safe to be around but is actually quite dangerous is the hippopotamus. The hippopotamus is considered a very dangerous animal. And again, we have two names for it. We say either hippo or we say hippopotamus. Maybe try saying hippopotamus a few times. It's a little tricky. To pronounce. Noisy. So for me, when I think about animals that are noisy, the first animal I think of is the bird. There are a lot of birds outside my window in the morning. Often I get woken up by birds chirping outside my window. There are a lot of birds in my area. There are a lot of trees, and I think there's just a lot of birds in the trees, and they are extremely noisy in the morning. It's a little bit overwhelming. So when I think about nosy is when you want to know other things about people. Noisy is when you make a lot of noise. And then I have the word intelligent. When I think about an animal and I think about the word intelligent, I naturally think of the dolphin. When I would go to Marineland, which is a place close to us that has dolphins, they would do all kinds of tricks. They were very intelligent animals. The dolphin, I think, has a very big brain, and so that makes the dolphin very, very intelligent. I think some people think dolphins are more intelligent than human beings even, but I don't think so. I think we have a lock on that. When you have a lock on something, it means you're the one that has that characteristic. No one else does. Furry. So when an animal is furry, it means it is covered in hair, but that hair is very soft to the touch. There are a lot of furry animals in the world. Humans are not very furry. Sometimes men will grow lots of facial hair and they'll have lots of hair on their back. And we might say that that person's very hairy, but animals we would describe as furry. Okay. So this fox is very furry. The fox has a lot of hair. That when you have a lot of hair on an animal, you would say they are furry. Rabbits are furry, cats are furry, dogs are furry. Human beings, you would, though, describe as hairy. That would be the right way to do it. Let's see here. Weird. So whenever I see the platypus, I think it's a weird animal. It's probably a very nice animal. I don't know a lot about it, but I think to myself, the platypus seems weird because it has feet like a duck and it has like a bill like a duck, but it kind of looks more like a beaver or a muskrat. So it's kind of this strange combination of different animals. There's always a joke that the platypus was made out of leftover parts from other animals. But certainly, I'm not sure if it's nice to say, but I do think the platypus is a little bit weird when you look at it. So we have cold-blooded and warm-blooded animals. Cold-blooded animals cannot maintain their body temperature, okay? So cold-blooded animals often will lay in the sun in order to warm up. Cold-blooded animals do not produce heat through their metabolism, okay? So they cannot keep themselves warm. Warm-blooded animals, on the other hand, use their digestive process, their metabolism, their use of food energy to create heat in their body and to maintain a constant temperature. Humans are warm-blooded as well, although if you want to know an adjective to describe a human who's very mean, you might say they're cold-blooded, okay? So we do use that adjective to describe humans. But lizards, snakes, turtles, I think, are all cold-blooded animals. And cows, dogs, and even humans are all warm-blooded. Big difference between the two. Domesticated. So domesticated animals are animals that a long time ago, thousands of years ago, were wild animals, but now they live with humans either as pets or as farm animals. The dog is the best example of this. All dogs, I think, are descended from some kind of wolf or fox, probably a wolf, but a dog is a domesticated animal. Dogs usually don't live in the wild. Sometimes they escape or they run away from their owners and they'll live on the street or they'll live in little packs. But dogs are definitely domesticated. So Oscar relies on us for food. He's not a dog who hunts for food. He is a domesticated dog. So when animals are domesticated like cows or horses, sheep and goats, we often either they are farm animals or they are pets. And the opposite, of course, would be wild animals. So here we have the rhino or rhinoceros. A wild animal is an animal that lives in the wild, lives in the wilderness, lives in the forest, lives outside of the city. Sometimes wild animals even live in the city. Canadian geese and raccoons live in cities, but they are also considered wild animals. So a wild animal is any animal that finds its own food, reproduces in the wilderness, has babies, and does not need humans to survive or exist. We also have animals that are endangered. An endangered animal is an animal that may eventually not exist, okay? So an endangered animal, actually the bald eagle was endangered. When I was doing my research for this lesson, I found out that it's no longer endangered, but it was on the endangered species list. And then I just wanted to mention, there's actually a bald eagle that lives on my farm. I thought they only lived in parts of the United States, but we saw one on multiple occasions. We've seen a bald eagle here on the farm. It's a beautiful, beautiful bird. So it was endangered. It was at risk of going extinct. There was a risk that there would be no more bald eagles on the planet, but now it is no longer endangered. So that's really cool. Extinct. So there are animals that have gone extinct. The dodo is one example. I think Mauritius is an island where this bird lived. It didn't have the ability to fly, and so it was very easy to hunt them and to eat them, and then eventually they were extinct for a number of reasons. I think because they hunted them a lot, but also I think because there might have been diseases involved. But when an animal no longer exists on the planet, we say that it is extinct. It's sad when an animal goes extinct. So it's nice if an animal is on the endangered species list, and we work hard as humans to stop them from going extinct. Always a nice thing to do. Feral. So feral animals are animals that were domesticated but have now escaped or don't live with humans, or maybe they ran away and started to reproduce on their own. There are places in the world where there are feral cats. These are cats that live in the wild as if they're wild animals. There are places where there are feral dogs. I think there's even feral chickens. I think chickens can even escape and live on their own. So chickens are an animal that we domesticated, but sometimes they go back to the wild when they escape their chicken coop and they can become feral. Around here, we don't have a lot of feral cats or feral dogs. Although when I was a kid, there was a pack of feral dogs that was going around trying to get into people's barns. And eventually, I think the Humane Society came and found them. Fluffy. So chick. So you have chickens. When chickens lay eggs, sometimes those eggs hatch into chicks. And chicks are very fluffy. This is a little bit different than furry. When something is fluffy, it's very, very soft to the touch, okay? So little baby chicks are very fluffy. They have tiny, tiny feathers, and they're just super, super soft. So chick is definitely something that is fluffy. Let me see here. Horned. So animals that have horns are called horned. So horned sheep, you have goats that have horns. You have many, many types of animals that have horns. We would say they are horned animals. So a horned animal is something like obviously the sheep, deer, elk, those types of things, or moose. We have moose in Canada that also have horns. Very, very interesting. Mangy. So I didn't want to put a picture of an actual mangy dog. When you have a mangy animal, its fur is falling out a little bit. It isn't living with humans. It might have like different insects attacking it, and so that makes its hair fall out. But many stray dogs or wild dogs, we would also consider mangy. So a mangy dog is not healthy. A mangy cat is not healthy. They're usually very, very skinny because they don't have enough food, and they look sickly. They look a little bit sick, okay? So definitely when you have a stray dog or wild dog, it might appear mangy to you. And then we have purebred. A purebred animal is something like a German Shepherd. When I was young, the type of cow we had was a Holstein cow. There are certain types of domesticated animals that are purebreds. Certain types of dogs are considered purebred. So if you have a certain type of poodle or a German Shepherd or a golden retriever, we would consider those animals to be purebreds. Oscar is not a purebred. He is a mixture of 3 different kinds of dog, I think. So he is not a purebred dog at all. Rabid. So there is a disease called rabies that animals sometimes get. In Canada, if you see a skunk during the day, it's usually a rabid skunk. It usually has rabies. Normally, skunks kind of come out at night and they kind of walk around at night. But definitely, if you see a skunk during the day, it probably has rabies. Oscar, our dog, got a needle. He got vaccinated so that he doesn't get rabies. If Oscar got in a fight with a wild animal, there's a chance he would get rabies. And then we would say that he would be a rabid dog. So we got him vaccinated so that this doesn't happen. Let's see here. Scaly. So fish have scales. So fish have what are called scales on their body. When you catch a fish before you eat it, you have to get the scales off, and you might use a scaling knife. But fish are definitely scaly. They have all these tiny little pieces. It's almost like they're wearing a little bit of armor on their body, like a knight would wear. But they are scaly in the sense that they don't have fur. They definitely are not like, let me see. They're definitely not like a fox. They're definitely not like a dog. Instead, they have this really smooth, scaly outer portion. Fish are delicious, says Semra. Yes. So here's the goose. Earlier, we were talking about the Canada goose as being a little bit ferocious. They attack people sometimes. They're a little bit scary, but they're also web-footed. If you look at the feet of this goose, you can see that between what would be a human's fingers or toes, there's actually some skin. So the goose is web-footed. Ducks are also web-footed. There are a variety of web-footed animals on this planet. Vicious. So when I think of the word vicious, I often think of dogs that are trying to bite people. Sometimes when I go for my walk, there is a dog that runs out and barks at me and growls at me, and I just feel like he wants to bite me. I feel like he might be a vicious dog. Sometimes dogs are very, very friendly, but sometimes dogs can be very, very vicious. I'm not sure if this picture is a picture of a vicious dog. He might just be yawning, like maybe he's tired. So either way, sometimes dogs can be vicious. And then tame. So when you think about going to the circus, sometimes there is a lion tamer who has lions, which are normally wild animals, but they have tamed that animal. So that animal is very, very tame. So I have never been to the circus. I don't think I've seen a tame lion ever. So the lion tamer will train the lions to be friendly towards them, and they'll do a little circus act, and the lions are tame. I would never trust a lion. I would never think that a lion is actually tame. It would scare me, I think. No matter how nice the lion is, I would still be afraid of it. Clever. So raccoons. We have a lot of raccoons in Canada, and they are very, very clever. When you use the word clever, it means smart and really good at figuring things out. Raccoons are good at opening garbage cans. Raccoons are good at finding their way into different places. They're good at, they use their paws in order to do certain things that other animals can't. In the cities in Canada, sometimes raccoons are able to open up garbage cans and those kinds of things, and it makes people very, very annoyed. They put their garbage out and then raccoons open them. No matter what they do, no matter how they lock them, the raccoons figure it out. They are very clever. Tiny. So this is, I think, a teacup poodle. I'm not super familiar with them, but some animals are very, very tiny. This is a very cute dog, by the way. But some animals are massive, like the elephant, and some animals are definitely much smaller and very, very tiny. And sometimes they're just cute. So just a little review here. Sorry, wrong screen. I think I missed one. Oh, okay, that's later on. Puppies are very cute. We do use the word cute to talk about babies, to talk about puppies, to talk about kittens. We'll just say, oh, they're so cute. Our baby goats are actually very cute. Baby goats jump around a lot, and they jump onto their mums. So their mums are laying in the pen or the pasture, and the baby goats are really cute because they jump on top and they jump up and down, and then they jump off. Actually, I should have put a picture of a baby goat here. They are very, very cute. So again, when an animal is cute, it just is fun to watch. It makes you just kind of go, aw, they're so cute. Feathered. So a parrot is feathered. This is either a parrot or a macaw. I think all parrots are macaws. I'm not sure exactly. This isn't a science lesson. But a feathered animal has feathers. So things like ducks, all birds that fly have feathers. Chickens have feathers. I think you know what feathers are. They're a long piece of kind of a hard substance with soft hair-like things coming off of it. So this parrot is definitely feathered. So feathered animals have feathers. Migratory. So when you have things like ducks, if they fly south in the winter, we would say that they are migratory. There are a lot of migratory birds in Canada. There are a lot of birds that come back in the spring and then they fly south in the winter. So they enjoy the warmer weather here in Canada, but then they go south when it starts to get cold. We also have a funny word in English called, we have a word snowbird. A snowbird is a person who lives in Canada who goes and lives in the southern United States during the winter. So a lot of people, their grandparents, they would say, oh, they're snowbirds. That means around the beginning of January, they move to Florida or another southern US state, and they live there for a little bit during the colder part of Canada's seasons. And during the winter season in Canada, they move to Florida. Nocturnal. So a nocturnal animal is an animal that sleeps during the day, or at least doesn't really do a lot during the day, and they tend to go out at night. The bat is probably the most common nocturnal animal. A nocturnal animal is an animal that hunts at night, is active at night, and during the day takes some time to either snooze or simply not do very much at all. And then adorable, this is the picture I was looking for earlier. So puppies are cute and adorable. Kittens, which are baby cats, are also very cute and adorable. So we have a lot of adorable kittens on the farm at certain times of the year. They are very, very cute. They are fun to play with. They really like swatting at things with their paws, and sometimes they fight with each other, which is very adorable as well. Let me just take a little sip of water there. And then cuddly. When an animal is cuddly, it means it likes to be with you. Maybe it likes to sit on your lap. Maybe it likes to sit beside you on the couch. A cuddly animal just likes to be touching a human being, usually their owner. So cats can be very cuddly. Dogs can be very cuddly. Certainly there are animals in the world that as humans, we like having around, and they're very, very cuddly. Probably the two most common would be puppies, cats, kittens, and dogs. There you go.